YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Heading into NFL Week 5 with my score predictions for every single game. We do this video every single Wednesday. We got straight up picks with some other members of the Goat House on Tuesday night, so that video for Week 5 is already up. And Power Rankings up, Rookie Power Rankings making a return. We got all kinds of content here for the NFL season, always adding more, so join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Make sure you check out that Twitter. You're missing out on a lot of extra NFL talk on there. If you're not following us, link in description comments for that. Here's our Twitter real quick. Gilmore trade went down earlier. We were talking all about that. We made a video on that, so check it out. But, yeah, make sure you check out that Twitter, like I said. Thursday night game. Rams are favored by 2.5. It's in Seattle. It's a tough one because Seattle's tough in prime time at home. You know, that crowd's going to be wild, obviously, the 12th man. Pretty good resume. You know, Pete Carroll with the Seattle Seahawks prime time at home. So, tough team to beat. I'm still going with the Rams, though. You know, bounce back game after the Cardinals. There's some things they got to work on. Defense actually is very, very underwhelming. I want them to spread the ball out a little more. It feels like Stafford just focusing on Cooper Kupp. Don't only rely on the deep ball, although big reason why I'm picking them. I do think you can beat the Seahawks secondary. It feels like Quandre Diggs is in the back end by himself covering the deep ball. But I do want the Rams to spread it out. Hit the deep ball, make them fear the deep ball, get the ball underneath a little more here. Teams have been able to run the ball a little more effectively on the Seahawks than we're used to. Maybe Jaron Reed missing a guy like that. Linebacker play isn't all that good outside Bobby Wagner. He's fantastic, but maybe missing a guy like KJ Wright. So Rams should be able to kind of do what they want with this game. I think a little more clock coming off from these offenses than what maybe most may expect, but still high scoring, 28-24, win by 4 here. But Seahawks, first couple games, weren't able to get things going offensively in the second half compared to the first half. But last game against the 49ers, they were able to control the clock a little different than the first few games, and maybe they can try to do that again this game. But I'm feeling the Rams just for matchup reasons. I think they're just more explosive here. Actually on both sides of the ball, but it is in Seattle prime time. This is a London game early on Sunday. Jets, Falcons. The Falcons are favored by 3. I actually have the Jets, the underdogs, winning by 3. A little bit of a bold pick here, just really feeling the Jets. I mean, we're looking at a struggling offense in the Jets, even though they picked it up last week against the Tennessee Titans. Picked it up a little bit, took them a bit to get going. And then the Falcons, who's right now looking like the worst defense in football. They're giving up the most points, 32nd points per game. And anything can happen in London, but I just like the way the Jets match up because their defense is actually very solid. They got tons of pressure on Ryan Tannehill. He wasn't able to get outside the pocket. I think with the Falcons' offensive line struggles and Matt Ryan and his escapability, the lack of, I think the Jets get after him and they'll slow him down. The Falcons, when they played the Giants defense, they weren't able to score much on them. So I think some similarities there. And the Jets, Zach Wilson might be getting going now in a defense that pretty much everybody should be able to score on here. I think the Jets do just enough in London here. But it's bold. It's definitely bold. It's a toss-up game, so we'll see what happens. Packers, Bengals. The Packers are favored by 3. Packers are missing some key guys in this game, so it could be a little tricky. And the Bengals defense has been better than expected, but it's a true test here. I think the Packers offense has success here. I think the Bengals will have some success on offense as well. Packers missing Zadarius Smith, likely without Alexander perhaps. So that's pretty tough, but who's going to lock down Jamar Chase? I think he can have a day. Tyler Boyd's been playing pretty well. See if Joe Mixon plays. So I think the Bengals offense will do enough. It's really on the play calling because we've seen it hot and cold throughout this year. Really on the play calling. I think the Packers got too much on offense in this game, but maybe the Bengals figure something out here. Hopefully Jesse Bates back. That'll be big for a game like this. But, the Packers just kind of keep them on their toes, the Bengals, that is, because they'll air the ball downfield underneath. They'll run the ball. So I'm actually thinking Packers offense just too much in this one. But somewhat of a close game. I was surprised by the line. So the Vegas they're saying it's a little bit of maybe a trap game here for the Packers. So I thought the Packers would be favored by more than that. But so that's interesting for sure. Bengals been playing good ball though. They've been playing good ball. Lions, Vikings. I think the Vikings. I think both teams kind of get back on track to scoring like we saw earlier in the year. Vikings were a little bit of a letdown last week against the Browns. They only scored 7 points. Starting to think the Browns might have the best offense in football. I'm thinking the Vikings definitely get back on track this week offensively. I think they'll be effective across the board, so kind of looking like that high-powered offense again. So I'm predicting them at home to score 34 points. Kind of a lot. It's really what I'm feeling here. But I do think the Lions will have success on offense. You know, the Vikings defense actually looked legit last week for the first time this year. I don't know if that's really the case there. I think the Lions kind of get going. They'll get their backs to ball in space. I think Goff has a pretty solid game. I think the Vikings offense is just too much, kind of like what we saw majority of the season minus last week. They're favored by 7.5, got them winning by 10. They should take care of business. Other things here, more and more why I like the Vikings. Frank Ragnow, the center of the Lions, on IR. One of the better centers in football. He'll be out. Lions were dead last in pass rush win rate, and now their best pass rusher, Romeo Okwara, out for the season. A lot of things pointing towards the Vikings here. Vikings offensive line's actually been playing solid, except it was a disaster last week, but that was against Myles Garrett and company. Don't think they have too many problems with the Lions here. Vikings win by 10 for me. I think back on track with the offensive game here between these two teams. Broncos, Steelers, tough one to pick. Now, I was really thinking Drew Lock was going to play. Now it sounds like Bridgewater has a chance to play, even though he definitely was concussed. Chance to play, but Drew Lock taking those first-team reps in practice today as I'm talking here. So I'm thinking it's going to be Drew Lock versus Big Ben. And that definitely makes a difference because I do think Bridgewater is a good amount better than Drew Lock, even though I probably wouldn't have said that going into the year, but it does feel like that. But, Lock, now that he's set in stone, that, or maybe he's not, though. That's what it kind of feels like. But if he knows he's a starter, the Broncos probably know. Whole week to prepare as a starter. Could look a little better than how we got thrown in the situation last week. These are two offenses that, could struggle against two very good defenses in this game. So, toss-up game, an absolute must-win for the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. I think, honestly, I might trust the Broncos offense a little more. They might be a little more effective on the ground, but in a defensive game, I'm going to go with that defense that I think is going to make that extra play. And it could be their defense. I'm going to go with the Steelers, though. If this was in Denver, I actually may lean towards the Broncos. If Teddy was starting for sure and he felt good, maybe, I'd be tossed. So I'd probably lean towards the Broncos a little more, too. But Steelers at home here, probably Drew Lock. I'm going to take the Steelers by 3. Toss-up defensive game. Must win for the Steelers. They lose this game. Might be in trouble there. Dolphins, Bucks. I got the Bucks 24-16. Dolphins actually match up better versus the Bucks than the Colts, believe it or not. The Bucks are better than the Colts, a lot better. But the matchup, Dolphins struggle stopping the run. Colts are a run-first team. Now you go to the Buccaneers, it's a pass-first team. The Dolphins actually are pretty good against the pass, and they create plays. They create turnovers, throw teams off. Buccaneers can be sloppy at times. They can turn the ball over. So some of the matchups kind of side towards the Dolphins if they can kind of complete what they do there, if they can succeed in that area. So they could be a little sneaky, but even with that, even with the play or two created by the Dolphins, I don't think they have enough offense in this game. I think the Buccaneers pass rush, even though thin in the secondary, their pass rush will get after Jacoby Brissett in this game. And the Buccaneers may choose to run a bit because the matchup favors that, and I think they could have some success at least in that. So I'll take the Buccaneers mainly because the lack of offense from the Dolphins, 24-16. They're favored by 10. Don't have them winning by quite that much, but we'll see. It's probably one you shouldn't bet on because the Buccaneers are so much better than them that they could just blow them out and then Brissett could be turning the ball over. But then you can look at, like I'm saying, that the Dolphins may cover the spread here because they do match up well, but things kind of have to go well. They can't be turning the ball over a ton. So it's really a toss-up game there in terms of not picking the winner, but in terms of how it'll play out exactly if you're looking at the spread here. Saints, Washington, a toss-up game. I haven't got a Saints game right this year. Washington's been a little tricky. Just two tricky teams to figure out because we expected Washington's defense to be good, real good. It's not. Last week, we expected them to win because of pass rush. That's not why they won. They actually won because of offense. Pretty damn wild. That's how it happened. Saints, they blew a lead last week. You just don't know what to expect from them. Could they be a conservative team? And that could work, and they can win. I keep saying this all week. Could they be a conservative team offense, and that's kind of why they get stopped and they don't win. They can be an explosive offense, get the ball downfield because they have that ability. They can try to do that and turn the ball over too much. So you're kind of back and forth all over the place here. And anything can happen because of that. So would not put money on this game, but I'm gonna pick the Saints here to win this game. I I think they're going to create, either defense can create turnovers. It's weird that I actually trust the Saints defense a bit more than Washington. That's the difference here. I think Jameis will have some success. It's going to be who wins a turnover battle. I can see Winston and Heineke having turnovers. It's about who has multiple. Whoever has multiple, that team's going to lose. I'm going to pick the Saints. Really deciding factor. I'm going to trust their defense a little more. It's in Washington. Saints feel like every other week. I think they, for them winning, feel like they learned a little bit last week against the Giants. Washington's been playing teams after they played the Giants, and they kind of had that film on them last couple weeks, so maybe that helps in their favor. We'll see. Eagles, Panthers, I'm going to take the Panthers. They just traded for Gilmore. That's awesome. We won't see him this week, though. I got the Panthers 27-17. I love the matchup for the Panthers. I will say maybe the Cowboys, I don't want to say exposed because I still like the Panthers here. I definitely don't want to say exposed, but I'm trying to find the right word. Show everyone else some film, some game plan, give them a game plan. But I don't think, and here's an example, I don't think that game plan is always going to work. What that is expect the blitz against their defense. Maybe you can run the ball a little more often against Panthers defense. Offensively, I don't know if there's really too much of a game plan against them, but you can create turnovers perhaps on them like the Cowboys did. But I don't know if the Eagles are that great against the blitz here. Jalen Hurts, I don't know if he's that great. I know he's not that great against the blitz. I think the Panthers will continue to play their game. It didn't really work on Dak Prescott a whole lot because he's a very smart quarterback, and he's able to check to the runs and beat that pass blitz. Eagles don't want to run the ball. Miles Sanders didn't run the ball well last week, but again, they don't want to run the ball. Hurts struggles a little bit against pressure, especially instant blitz. I think the Panthers will give that to him, create some turnovers. Mainly lock them down. Why the Eagles have low-scoring prediction here, 27-17. I think the Panthers will have enough success on offense with the help of their defense here. Key would be to run Hurts. Read options, run Hurts, get the misdirection going. That'll be the key for the Eagles. We'll see. Maybe the Cowboys put it all on tape, but you kind of got to replicate what they did. Very, very tough there. Panthers only favored by 3.5. Again, I love the way they match up there, but I could see one of those games where Darnold just turns the ball over and kind of costs them a bit, but don't see it here. Titans, Jags, weird score prediction here. Got to get one of these in. 29-23. Titans been kicking more field goals than touchdowns. They get a mixture of that, but still quite a bit of those field goals. I think the Jags could have some success on offense here. I think the read option that they're starting to implement a little more. And then James Robinson's success where he, he's a good runner. I think that could give the Titans some, I think specifically the read option, Trevor Lawrence running, actually could have some success on the Titans defense. So I'd watch out for that. Titans are just better coming off that loss, possibly getting their receivers back. I think they'll be pissed off after that loss as well. A little bit of a distraction for Urban Meyer situation there. So I'm going to go with the Titans here. But it's tricky. Could the Titans lose to back-to-back winless teams here? That'd be wild. But I'd watch out for that read option. Trevor Lawrence running for the Jags. But I'm going to take the Titans. I still don't like I think the offense is getting there for the Jags. I don't like their defense. Titans will have success. Got to turn those field goals into touchdowns, though. So I got them 29-23, a little bit of an odd score. Patriots, Texans, I'll take the Patriots, 23-10, extremely low scoring. The Texans, you don't trust them overly with their offense right now with Davis Mills in there. It was a slot fest, rain, downpour game last week versus the Bills, and the Bills are a very tough team, but Patriots got a pretty damn good secondary there, so I think they'll limit Mills, and they'll limit them in the passing game, resulting in 10 points for the Texans. Patriots will think they could score more in this. Hopefully they unleash Mac Jones a little bit. Damian Harris finally gets going, hopefully. But they're going to be missing about half their offensive line, it looks like, because of injury to Trent Brown. I don't think he'll be back. Hasn't practiced yet. And then COVID, on the COVID list is Michael Onwenu and Isaiah Wynn, their left tackle. So starters out. So might limit their offense a little bit. I will say, I always like to argue both teams a little bit here. I will say for the Texans, if they pound the football with their very solid group of running backs, say they get the ball first, they pound the football, they control the clock, they get on the board early, that could be the difference. That's where they can be a little sneaky in this game because even though the Patriots have a good defense, you can run on them. You definitely can. So, but I'll take the Patriots there by 13 points. It's just still the lack of offense for the Texans is the worry. Bears, Raiders, Justin Fields announced the starter for the Bears. Still a big-time test here against the Raiders, who actually are getting a good amount of quarterback pressure. And they do everything pretty well there. We'll see. Trayvon Mullen hurt, so that could hurt, and Damon Arnett, who has also been struggling. So missing a corner on one side opposite of Casey Hayward could hurt them in this game. But, the Bears defense looking good, even though the Lions were able to move the ball a little bit. I think the Raiders will have success. I think that, they keep defenses guessing. The Bears haven't really played something like this where you got to fear the deep ball, you got to fear the underneath. You really got to try to lock down Waller. But then Jacobs, another week back healthy, could run on you as well. So, and the Raiders do enough there. They'll probably run a bit of clock, and that's part of the Bears game too, kind of keeping leads and running clock. So it'll be tough if they have to play keep up in this game. I just don't know if they'll have an insane amount of success offensively. They'll have an explosive play from Fields, whether it's on the ground or attacking. He looked pretty good throwing those deep balls. I think those will show up here and there. I just don't think they'll have a lot of steady success offensively. Also, Dave Montgomery out doesn't help as well. So I got the Raiders by 10, a bounce-back game for them. Browns-Chargers toss-up game. I went with the Chargers. They're at home in this game. Helps a little bit. Both very solid defenses. The Browns may be looking like the best in football, but the Chargers have held all their opponents to their least amount of points this year. That looks pretty good. They're also a playmaking defense. Browns, more of a lockdown defense. Chargers get their hands on the ball. So I'm going to go with what offense can make that extra play. I am predicting somewhat of a defensive game here. Two good offenses as well, but which offense can make that extra explosive play? I'll go with Justin Herbert and the Chargers in that one. I could definitely argue the Browns, though. The Chargers defense looking pretty good. It stopped the run much better last week, but teams have been able to run the ball on them. The Browns are very good running the ball, so if the Browns come out, pound the football, get points on the board, control the clock, it's a whole different ball game then. So I can really argue both sides here. I'm just leaning with these defenses making some big-time plays. Which offense can make that explosive play when it's much needed? I'm going to go with the Chargers. Toss-up game, though, for sure. Giants, Cowboys. I got the Cowboys by 10. The Giants put up fights with, they're 1-3. They're going to put up a fight. They're going to play tough versus everybody. They'll show that to the Cowboys. I just don't really love the matchup for the Giants. It's kind of, they got to kind of keep up here. Cowboys are going to score unless some kind of meltdown happens, fluky things happens, which is possible, happens all the time. But Giants are going to have to try to keep up. And they'll have success here and there in offense, definitely not enough. Cowboys making plays on defense as well. I'll take the Cowboys at home. Just too much here. Too much offensively. Not the best matchup for the Giants. 49ers, Cardinals. Cardinals 26-17. I think a lot of, 26 is actually, it's kind of high, but it's for the Cardinals, it's kind of low. But that's because I think a lot of clock's going to be coming off in this game. I'm predicting this is what the 49ers should do. Really, Garoppolo overall is probably the better option still. That's the reason why he was starting. But in this game, I would think, we'll see where Garoppolo's injury is at. It may have to be Lance, but I do think Lance is the best option in this game. The Cardinals right now are plain and simple just better than the 49ers. Sure, the 49ers can compete with them. Cardinals are just plain and simple better. People it's still early in the season, don't really have the game plan to figure out how to stop them because they throw everything at you. So you have to come up with something to try to throw that off and limit that. And that's pounding the football and controlling the clock. And I think that's what the 49ers would do, having Trey Lance's running ability to throw off the Cardinals. That's something that could have some success against the Cardinals defense too. They played the deep ball pretty well last week against the Rams. This is like totally the opposite, So the 49ers should pound the football, try to control the clock, and they'll try to do that. I still think the Cardinals will make that because all it takes is one play for them. I still think they'll make those explosive plays, and that'll be enough. And the 49ers, I don't know if we'll have, again, they control the clock, control the ground. Will they have enough to put up that point, versus the Cardinals? I don't think so, but it's something I can see. I can see that scenario. I'm not going to sit here and say the Cardinals are guaranteed to win, even though they're the most dominant team in football right now. I can see that scenario where the 49ers succeed, pound the football, controlling the clock. Cardinals can't really get on their groove. There was a moment in the Jaguars game where they couldn't really get in their groove either because of that. So we'll see. And they had struggles against the Vikings offense, which the 49ers at times, we've seen them, more with Garoppolo run that similar West Coast style. So the 49ers definitely they got a sneaky chance in this game. It's just very hard to pick against the Cardinals right now. Bills, Chiefs. I was the only one in our picks video to go with the Chiefs. I'm lone dog on that one, lone wolf on that one. So everyone else going with the Bills. I will say right now the Bills are definitely the better team right now. There's more teams that the Bills can beat out in the NFL than the Chiefs can beat. Therefore, the Bills are the better team right now, and they might be for some time, maybe for the rest of the year here. But I'm gonna take the Chiefs in this one. I'm gonna take them in Arrowhead, Sunday Night Football. Yeah, at home, crazy crowd. Bills defense has been dominant. It's been one of the best, maybe the best in football right now, and I still think it's very good. But they haven't been tested like this. I think kind of just out of nowhere, it's getting the Chiefs thrown at you after kind of playing those weaker offenses, and that's not a shot at the Bills. You can't you can't control your own schedule, and I still think they're good. It's just tough going against, you don't choose to go against those weak defenses. It's tough, or offenses, I should say, offenses they've been playing. Going against those to playing the Chiefs, it's kind of just going to slap you in the, and maybe it won't. They have experience against the Chiefs offense, so, but I think the Chiefs will do enough offensively, and I think the Chiefs are getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire going a little more and able to control the clock a little more, so maybe limit the Bills just enough here. So I'm going to go Chiefs 33-31. Very close, high scoring. That's what I'm feeling here. It's probably one I wouldn't put money on here, but because it's a toss-up, could go either way. Again, the Bills are the better team right now, so we'll see. It's going to be a fun one Sunday night. Monday night, Ravens are by 7, but I don't think they win by that amount. I think it's pretty damn close here. Low-scoring defensive game, kind of like last year. The Ravens ended up pulling away in the end in the matchup last year. It was really a very tight game. I think Ravens being at home in prime time definitely helps them here, so that'll give them the edge 2017. I think they'll make enough plays. Lamar will make enough, that one extra play there. Defensively, they can create a turnover on Carson Wentz. I mean, the Colts been creating turnovers defensively as well. Who's going to win the turnover battle? That's the difference. There was a fumble from the Colts last year. That was the difference. Who's going to win that turnover battle? If this was in India, I'd have a hard time. I think the Colts probably could pull it off. In Baltimore, I'll take them prime time. Still don't fully trust Wentz here, but he's got it in him. We know he has it in him. Colts, I think, do rely on the run game working early on, and that'll be a big question this game. I'll take the Ravens by a field goal. Again, I think a tight defensive game. Who's going to win the turnover battle? Somebody going to score on defense? That'll be the questions there. But the Ravens get another home primetime game that comes up clutch for them. Those are my score predictions. Let me know your guys' thoughts either on Twitter or here in the comments. We're back every Wednesday with this video. Weekly picks every Tuesday with the other guys at the Goat House. Power rankings on the channel as well. A lot on the channel. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. You guys know the drill. Be much appreciated. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. That is going to do it for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.